Well, guys, it's been a while since we've talked about Young Justice, and with all the renewals from DC Animation, I thought it was about time. So let's take a couple minutes to talk about what has been renewed from DC, and why I think we're still not getting any new Young Justice. Well, if we think back several months, maybe even more than a year, it appeared DC Animation was ready to expand. We saw several DC projects find their way over to Amazon, and for us Young Justice fans, this seemed like good news. Now, since then, the DCU has launched and we got Creature Commandos, and along with that, a second season of My Adventures with Superman, along with Harley Quinn and Kite Man, leaving us Young Justice fans wondering where is our fifth season? Since then, a lot has been going on over at DC Studios, and many of us were hopeful with some clear leadership at the top of DC Studios, Young Justice was finally going to get another chance. Greg Weisman has kept the project alive with his character countdown, and we're finally getting down to the nitty-gritty with some of the core characters, but it seems to me, at this point, Young Justice is simply not going to be included. Now, I saw a tweet earlier today from one of our regular followers, Ryan Ledger, and it was in response to an announcement that Creature Commandos had already been given a Season 2 and would indeed get a post-credit scene closing out the first season. Now, he had an excellent point, because at this point, Creature Commandos, My Adventures with Superman, Harley Quinn, and even Teen Titans Go have been renewed. So why won't James Gunn save Earth 16 and renew Young Justice? Now, I'm not going to lie, at this point I'm starting to become pretty pessimistic. The lack of even mentioning the show seems to indicate there's some kind of status we are unaware of. Now, James Gunn is constructing a new world with a serious tone, and if you like Young Justice, you know those storylines are also very serious and set within the DC universe, and I'm starting to wonder if one of our theories will indeed turn out to be true. I've wondered for quite a while if some of the more complex, adult, and mature storylines that Greg Weisman and Brandon Vietti brought to life, particularly in the latter seasons of Young Justice, might be the big problem. As we saw, particularly in the fourth season, this was leading to a major showdown between the forces of order and chaos, with Vandal Savage at the center of that conflict. Now, at this point, there's been a ton of speculation on who some of the big bads for the DC universe are going to be. We've heard it could be the Center. There's always the possibilities of Darkseid, but honestly, as far as terrestrial-based villains go, there might not be a bigger name than Vandal Savage himself. And I'm starting to wonder if the big holdup is the simple fact that Young Justice might have had multiple story threads that were going to parallel or are very, very similar to what's going on in the DCU. If you remember correctly, James Gunn mentioned the series by name early on when he was developing the DCU, and this seems to be one of those instances where maybe because the show was so effective in its storytelling techniques and bringing those characters to life in these complex storylines, well, that might be the exact reason we haven't gotten the fifth season, because it will simply tread in the territory that Gunn plans on covering for his major DCU stories. Now, he hasn't said it's dead, and Greg Weisman has pointed out it was never really canceled, just another season wasn't ordered. But we are going on multiple years at this point since we've gotten any Young Justice news, and sadly, I'm starting to become a bit pessimistic. Now, we've heard about some of the actors potentially raising funds to get this fifth season made and trying to remove the financial burden on Warner Brothers Animation. But even if they do that, they're still going to need a sign-off from James Gunn and Warner Brothers proper. And if he's concerned those storylines will intrude on what he's trying to build in the DCU, well, I think that could indeed be the major problem. Now, to be fair, Gunn has left the door open to Elseworlds projects, but if you notice, those projects and these animated projects we've gotten that are outside of the DCU are very tonally different than what he's doing, and that might be why shows like Harley Quinn or Kite Man or even Teen Titans Go are allowed to continue, where something like Young Justice has been put up on the shelf. Now, I'm still hopeful Amazon will actually pick up this series, but at this point we really have no news. We are in a new year, so I'm going to try to remain optimistic and look for any kind of updates to bring you as soon as they're released. But at this point, I think we're pretty much relegated to waiting for Greg Weisman to give us some clues, and hopefully by this year's Comic-Con, we have some sort of update, and fans will finally at least get an answer of whether we're going to get a Season 5 or if this show is truly over. I haven't given up hope. You should neither. Still, the best way to bring the show back to life is to watch it on the Max streaming platform, and also purchase some of those Young Justice products like the companion comics, which I highly recommend. Obviously, we're still going to follow Young Justice. This channel was built on love for this show, and I know many of you want more. I'm going to try not to bring you guys any nonsense or just filler news in the next couple of months, but I promise I haven't given up, and you shouldn't either. Now, before you take off, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, ring that bell for all the updates, and make sure you get every notification because we do daily Marvel and DC content and we don't want you to miss any news.